know cops put cameras in the ducks. Yeah, man. Like 70% of ducks you see, man, they ain't ducks. They cop ducks. They just robot ducks, man. They ain't even robots. They ain't even metal. They would, dog. Ask anybody,
you don't
dog.
even know.
Ask anybody who ever been to jail. They'll tell you, dog, yeah, most ducks you see floating by, they barely moving because they wood. And they got cameras in them. And them cameras go right back to the police station, dog.
Didn't know that.
So if you doing bad stuff at a creek, you doing bad stuff at like a lake, and you see a duck, one of them a snitch. Never know which one either. That's why I'd be like, hey, get up and fly, man. Get up and fly. Because like all these cops, they ain't got ducks that got like flying cameras in them or whatever.
Right.
Any duck that never flies, they are cop, man. They got a camera in them. But you don't want to know that because you ain't never been to jail. But the real ones know.
Real ones.
The real ones know. Ducks can't be trusted. That one flew. That one a homie.
Welcome, Duke. Welcome back to the swamp. Everybody, welcome. Joey says we're late. Fuck him. Hey, you thought birds weren't real? Ducks ain't real. You know what?
Well, ducks are birds, aren't they?
Hey, you know, you got a point
They're
there.
one of the. I mean, they're just a different kind of bird, right? They're a bird.
We're trying to broaden everybody's knowledge base. They're so focused on pigeons not being real. They got the diagrams. They got it all figured out, but they forgot about the ducks.
Yeah, they always get you when you least expect it, because ducks are kind of like, no one gives a shit about pigeons. Pigeons are nasty. They're like flying rats. They want to believe negative things about pigeons. You know, people already do believe negative things about pigeons, but with ducks are usually kind of like adorable.
Ducks are chill, right?
They're chill, you know, like people like ducks. Ducklings are like something that are supposed to be really nice and cute.
Right.
They had a duck on Friends.
Yeah.
You know,
the whole Duck Dynasty built on
the
ducks.
Duck Dynasty, exactly.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't expect it to be spying on you. Good to see you again, Tim.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Joey's in the chat, says, who the hell is that guest host? Well, it's Duke. I think, I don't know if you caught it the other night. It's kind of weird coincidence. We were talking about you because of the boys, the frat boys that were stealing your outfit. And and I made the comment that like these fuckers don't even have the common decency to wear short version. They only had the real long pants because they're a bunch of pussies. And I said like our friend Duke, he does that. And Rob's like, who's Duke? And I don't know if he's just fucking with me or what the hell, but you know.
He was just fucking with you. He's just butthurt that I haven't been around. I mean,
and then you say you're coming, and he's like, I'm not coming.
I understand. You know, he says he's got more important things to do.
Yeah.
And I haven't been around for a long time. I mean, I've been crazy busy with life, like all of us.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
you know, we have to make certain sacrifices. You know, I got married. Getting married is a big thing. Moving.
Thing. Yeah.
Constantly. You know, I've moved like 3 times in the past year. You know, sold my house. Just a lot of things going on, you know. And I've been trying to keep it a little low key. But yeah, no. Things have been good. How have things been going on with you there, Tim?
It's doing great, man. You know, same thing. Sold my house, moved out of the state. No longer in Florida, but I'm still here.
But no, where'd you move out to, bub?
In Georgia. Yeah, live out in Georgia now. I'll be here for probably another 6 months max, I hope, and then I'll be out of town. I don't plan on staying here for very long. I moved for work.
Where are you going to after that?
Nobody knows. It's like the military, man. I go wherever they send me.
And you still selling your tortillas?
No. I stopped driving tortillas around. I started now I tell other people where to go. It's great.
Hell yeah, man. That's what's up.
Yeah, so
promotion.
That's right, yeah. And so the next promotion will take me to some other faraway land. And no, I'm not fucking gay that way. You're fucking gay that way.
I mean, congratulations, man.
No, it's good. I'll be back in Florida at some point, I'm sure. You know, Florida's like, you know, I've always heard people say you could take the Texas out of the girl, but you can't, or, you know, whatever, the girl out of Texas, not the Texas out of the girl. It's the same thing with Florida. The Florida man is here. I am the Florida man.
It's in the heart. It's in the heart, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure, like, you sold that property of yours for probably double what you paid for it.
We don't talk about how much money is in the bank account, but it's good. It's good. No,
that's awesome, man.
Yeah. So, hey, you're back on the show. The other guys, you know, Mitch is on this CBD juice bullshit. Rob's like, I got to get healthy. What are you drinking? I know you got to be drinking something.
I usually go for the most interesting drink in the world, but I'm going with a little Modelo today. The wife picked it up for me the other night because she's a wonderful woman. I happened to be on another show the other night, Sibling Revelry. with
okay. Yep.
Doug and Paul. They're all part of the Force Mommy universe. Chill dudes. First time actually talking to them, and we fucking went for 5 goddamn hours on Rumble.
What do y'all think? You're Joe Rogan? The fuck?
I mean, it just kept going and going and going. It was just good conversation. They kept progressively getting drunker and higher.
Nice.
And I'm not smoking because I gotta find another job soon.
You gotta pass a test.
Yeah, I gotta pass some tests. And then no, it was good, man. It was a good time. Just been
5
traveling
hours.
around.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Dude, I know. It pushed up against it. I thought we were gonna do maybe 2 at the max, and then we were supposed to do like a 1 hour locals only show. And then it just kept going and going and going and just I guess it got
like the energizer.
It got me with feeling the itch again, a little bit.
That's good.
And then you saw you guys were posting in the chat, and I'm like, you know what? I haven't seen these little faggots in a long time.
That's right.
So let's jump on and have a little fun. I do miss you, Tim.
Hey, always, dude. Always.
You're my first love on Discord and the LP.
Yeah.
The bromance was real, and just figured I'd come back for a little bit.
It's like there's certain people that you just like immediately when you meet them, you're just like, oh yeah, we're gonna get along. This is gonna be great. Like you probably like met people in school or at work or something, and you're like you lock eyes with a chick and you're like, oh, we're gonna fuck. Like that's how it was when I met you. I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna fuck.
Definitely, it's gonna get deep and dirty.
That's right.
And it's a beautiful thing.
Well, I am drinking Wild Turkey American Honey. Fucking good. I love the Honey Jack, and then when I saw Wild Turkey had a honey version as well, I was like, ooh baby, let me try some of that, and it's been great. I'm running out. I gotta get something else soon. Oh yeah, here we go. Oh, is it not gonna? Oh, I pushed the wrong button. There it is. Yeah, gays and transies in the chat. There we go.
Fat gay trannies in the chat. Yeah, that's
right.
about what I was expecting.
Yeah.
But no.
Have you?
The Wild Turkey honey was pretty decent. When I was overseas, it was either the Jack honey or the Wild Turkey honey, and we mixed it with Dr. Pepper, and that shit was dangerous. Shit was so good.
I'm just going with Coke.
The regular ass Coke. Coke is great.
Yeah.
But no, man, the Dr. Pepper put it on a whole nother level. It tastes like you're drinking a creamsicle.
I'm gonna have to try that next show. When I finish this bottle, I'm gonna be bringing the Dr. Pepper. We'll see how it goes. So, have you been keeping up with this Tiffany Dalton or Tiffany Henyard in Dalton County? Do you know what that is? Do you know the super mayor? You've never.
Oh, are you talking about the black chick?
Yeah, the black chick who's like stealing. Yes, stealing all the money and everything. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes.
So
I've heard of her. Yes.
Yeah. So we've been following her on the show. I've been making a point to follow her. Rob brought her up and then just completely ignored her after the fact. But dude, shit keeps going down over there. So I'll fill you in on some of the missing pieces if you don't know everything that's been going on. But
please.
Yeah, so the last time that we talked about her on the show, there were a bunch of subpoenas that were served to both. She's the mayor, but then she's also in charge of she's on the county board as well. So she's got 2 elected positions in political office. Okay. She had subpoenas served from the FBI to both buildings. One was just asking for records about what her top aide about his bankruptcy fraud. He was charged with bankruptcy fraud because he only claimed one income. The income was
I did see that.
Yeah, and then the second income he just completely ignored. It's only like $100,000. Who gives a shit? Doesn't claim that. Files bankruptcy. Yeah. So they're coming after him. The theory is that they're pressuring him to try to get him to flip on her for all the money that she's stealing and all the corrupt things that she's doing. So that happened. The trip to Vegas, you probably saw that clip where they were asking if she went to Vegas and she's like, next question. She just didn't want to answer the question. She just kept saying, no.
Did you use taxpayer funds to go to Vegas and gamble? Next question.
Next question. That's a great question. Yeah. Her top aide, they interviewed him about it later, and he was asking, what happened to the money to the charity? Tiffany got all this money for her charity. You're in charge of the charity. Whatever happened to all the money? And he's like, that's a good question. You should. That's a good question. So he was taking notes from her. So we covered that on the show as well. Complete corruption, just fucking, it's been a hell of a show. She's had these public stunts where she's like, y'all are coming on after a black woman in power, and y'all are black. You ain't supposed to do me like this, was basically the attitude. And she went off for 45 minutes. We talked about some of that too. So anyway, now that you're all caught up on the story of Tiffany Henyard.
Yeah.
So recently, over the past week or so, she's been making life difficult for everybody. You know, the town is coming after her. FBI's coming after her. I don't know if you saw this. They sent Lori Lightfoot after her.
Jesus, no, I didn't.
Yeah. Okay, so Beetlejuice is
Beetlejuice after her. Okay.
Yeah. Beetlejuice is the prosecutor that's supposed to investigate Tiffany Henyard for all of her corruption and stuff. So they sent, the corrupted investigating the corrupt, right? It's going to be great.
Oh, it is Illinois, so.
Yeah, true.
Right?
So all of this stuff has been going on. So over the past week, I went to go check up on her and see what's happening. And it just keeps getting worse the more the story goes on. Hold on, we are going to watch this because if you don't know who Andrew Holmes is, some of this won't make any sense. So actually, his fly ass intro is going to play. We're going to let it run.
Hey everybody, it's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Jump. Dima, icon music. Andrew Holmes has been very busy doing a whole lot of things, taking pictures, trying to get in front of the cameras, and allegedly, who the clapper sounds? Stealing people's cheeks, unfortunately. But Andrew Holmes won't come to the board meetings anymore. He used to be at the city council meetings for the village of Dalton, and he gets paid $20,000 a year to do that as a job. But he's been missing in action. I wonder why. See, Andrew Holmes is fearful for his life. He probably feels that if he shows up to Dalton, something very bad is going to happen to him. And he may be right about that. You see, when you have the allegation that you do these kind of things to women, a lot of other men just don't really want you to be around. So he's staying away.
So
He looks like a fucking rapist.
Dude, he fucking does, dude. Like, when we were first looking at the story, there was people that were saying that there was a sexual assault that happened in Vegas. That's what this is talking about. Is there's a case going on against him for some sexual assault that happened in Vegas, and since then he hasn't shown up at the city council. He used to be there all the time, right next to Tiffany. You know, being his community activist and all this kind of stuff. But yeah. So anyway, so now you know who he is and the situation that's happening in Dalton. So this happened at a town meeting this week.
Yes.
All right, go ahead.
First, I would like to invite everyone to Tea with the Trustees, May 11th at 9:30 at the Lester Long Fieldhouse.
I'm leaving the announcement in on purpose. We'll get
Happy
to
Mother's Day to all the mothers that's out there. I have a couple of comments because I'm sure they won't get answered, but our meeting starts at 6:30, and it's unfair that we have to wait till 7:10, 7:15 to start a regular scheduled meeting based on one person. If a quorum is here.
She's talking about Tiffany Henyard. The meetings have consistently started late because she's not there.
Because she can't show up on time. She's on a
Imagine
CPT.
that. Imagine
She's
that.
on CPT.
That's right.
Yeah.
I believe that we should start the meeting, and it's not fair. I think it's being inconsiderate of people's time, and the fact that you always say, "Let's take care of the business. Let's take care of the business and move forward." Secondly, I see that, and I'm going to say this because while the people standing outside were outside, there were some people that tried to come upstairs and have a seat, and now they're sitting behind where employees are. I think it's unfair that people that's not residents, whoever it may be, they should not be sitting anywhere where it is employee. And the reason, excuse me.
Okay, you out of order. Out of order.
And the reason I say this is because I came here, and I am an elected official of the village of Dalton, and they wouldn't let me pass the door.
So Tiffany, for context, Tiffany has security standing outside of the building that are blocking people from coming inside. So there's a whole line of people that want to come in and talk shit to the mayor, and they're not letting them inside. And so the security has been given instructions not to let anyone in the building, including some of the trustees who are elected members of the council that are supposed to sit there. And so that's what she's complaining about right there. But it gets really good, especially with this guy.
Said that they were given the instructions that we could not come in the building. So I'd have the nerve of anybody to be sitting as if they were an employee of the Village of Dalton when I'm an elected official, elected by the people, and can't come in the building. I'm offended. Now, let me get to the last thing. Where you sit here and send out this Dalton Proud pamphlet, and we got it at the last meeting that came. This is nothing but an embarrassment.
Oh, yeah?
It's an embarrassment. It's campaign material, and it's full of lies. And then all the time while this was going on, the slap in the face that you would sit there and say, Lifetime Achievement Award to Andrew Holmes, and you knew what happened.
Damn.
This is a slap in the face. So the next time whoever gives you the bright idea to put this stuff out, I hope it came out your personal campaign fund, because this is nothing but campaign material. And I'm sure because it got township stuff in it, the township credit card paid for it.
So she has the nerve not only to keep using the public money to, you know, put out propaganda and campaign material, put her face right on the front. You saw the magazine, her face was right on the fucking front. And then the guy that's accused of sexual assault in Vegas, Lifetime Achievement Award.
That's her boy.
That's her boy, man. She is not backing down. She just keeps going hog wild for this. So that happened. And then I told you that that Tiffany Henyard is being investigated by our good friend Lori Lightfoot, right? Beetlejuice is coming after her.
Yeah, Beetlejuice herself.
Well, there's a slight problem with that, you know. The House of Tiffany. That's right. All right, here we go. There's a slight problem with that, though. Here, let's check this out.
This all comes after the FBI served subpoenas at the Village of Dalton and Thornton Township, where Henyard is also the supervisor. Those subpoenas named Tiffany Henyard, her top aide Keith Freeman, two of her allies on the village board, the deputy police chief, and a dozen others seeking expense and employment records. Critics accuse the mayor of using taxpayer dollars to bankroll trips to the tune of $102,000 in the past year. Her cancer charity also under scrutiny. The FBI also investigating claims that Henyard withheld construction permits and business licenses from her opponents.
You got somebody to answer to too, and that's the people of the village.
They're yelling at her, dude.
This administration is shameful. Y'all are a disgrace. If you won't step down,
We need to take our township back and put it in more capable hands.
That's why she don't want people in the building, because when they are in the building, they fucking let her have it.
They're going right after her.
Yeah. So here we go.
Sometimes this board sells you off of fake news, which is they come
It's all
out,
fake
they
news.
film things, and they put our community in a bad light.
Last month, the Board of Trustees voted to hire former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot as a special investigator into Mayor Henyard. Tonight, Henyard vetoed that appointment.
You know, it's veto power. So how dare you think you could come in someone's town and start working or doing something, even though we sent something stating it's illegal. We cited the code and everything in here, and she will not be paid for services.
So you got that? So they voted, they wanted to have this lady come in and investigate, Lori Lightfoot. Doesn't matter if it was her or anybody else. But Tiffany says, nah, veto. She can't come.
She's like, oh, she's coming in to investigate me? Nah, fuck that. She ain't allowed to come in here.
Not in my town, bro. So
no, man. The brass one's on this chick, man.
Dude.
I mean, you got to hand it to her. No wonder Rob is in love with her.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
I mean, she doesn't seem like he doesn't seem like he would be her type. But I mean, he only goes for his stepsisters, you know.
That's
usually.
right. Yeah.
No, yeah, but hey, a little chocolate love might do him a little bit good.
This is a good point. You know, Tiffany should have just said yes to Lori Lightfoot coming in and just paid her off. Just give her a little slice of the pie. She would have found her
I'm
not
sure
guilty.
it would have been pretty easy.
Yeah, sure. Would have found her not guilty. Everything would have been fine. But she decided not to do that. And so the latest update happened today. And so
wait, there's more.
There's more. So after she locked people out of the building, she's showing up late to meetings. All this kind of stuff happened. They got the investigation going. She vetoes that. They decided to have another meeting, a special meeting, I believe, and there was a decision made during this meeting. And this is what happened there. This broke, I think it said 15 hours ago, so maybe yesterday.
New tonight, a vote puts a new plan in place in Dalton.
Trustees have chosen someone to replace the mayor if she's not there. WGN's Jenna Barnes is joining us live from tonight's meeting with more. Jenna?
Yeah, Ray and Micah, Mayor Tiffany Henyard did not attend tonight's meeting, which is no surprise, but these trustees say it is a big part of the problem. That's why they appointed a mayor pro tem tonight.
We have many cases where village business cannot go forward.
The Dalton trustees opposed to Mayor Tiffany Henyard say she's missed 25 of these special meetings and counting, and she refuses to allow some village business to be put on the agenda for the village's regular meetings. That's why 3 of them voted to appoint Jason House as mayor pro tem.
We're just really trying to make sure that if something critical comes up, that there's a signature on deck that can move it forward.
House won't replace the mayor, but he would step in her absence, which these trustees say is happening far too often.
This is just in case, but we need just in case at this moment. We have meetings where we're all waiting 45 minutes just to get started, where we have an entire quorum here and we're waiting while the administration adds makeup and gets dressed, and it's just not fair.
Their move comes amid mounting scrutiny of how the mayor runs the village and Thornton Township.
She's just there getting her hair did. She's out there getting her fucking nails done.
Henyard's top aide, Keith Freeman, charged with bankruptcy fraud, and her ally on the board of trustees and activist Andrew Holmes, accused of sexual assault on a taxpayer-funded trip to Las Vegas.
We're paying these people, and it's like we're paying for them to abuse us.
We know what she is
sounds
doing,
like politics.
and it will be stopped.
That bitch looks serious.
That lady looks like she's gonna fucking glass someone, man. She's gonna go she's gonna break a bottle and she's gonna fucking glass someone.
Yeah, man. So definitely more to come on this story here. It is definitely developing into something. There's gonna be an explosion, dude. 25 meetings in a row, that like these special meetings that she has not shown up to. So I guess what happens is they have their regular meeting, and then there's a bunch of stuff that doesn't get handled and doesn't get brought up. And then they have these special meetings, and then Tiffany doesn't even show up, so they can't do business. So they're like,
they don't have the quorum, they don't have the person in charge, right?
Right. Well, yeah, that's what they say in the clip. Is they say we've got quorum, we just don't have Tiffany to run the meeting, and so we're not allowed to do anything. So we're gonna have this other guy do it. Fuck you. And so they're supposed to override her veto later this month. And they're also
to get an investigator.
Yeah, and they also pay. I think they're going to keep Lori Lightfoot, which isn't promising for justice. But they're going to
They're probably just doing it so that they get the most publicity. It's like not like they don't have enough publicity as it is already.
Right.
But, they're like, oh well, we get Lori Lightfoot, then everyone's going to pay attention.
You know what? I will pay attention. Like I was going to pay attention regardless, but I'm going to pay attention a little bit
Even
more.
more now that Beetlejuice is going to be there.
Yeah, I want to see.
What's going to end up happening is they're going to have Beetlejuice come in, and she's going to investigate it, and then it's going to turn out in like 6 months that they've turned into lesbian lovers.
Yeah, true.
And they're going to have to investigate Lori Lightfoot for stealing their money and corruption charges as well.
She's going to walk in her office and be like, "Hey, you want me to get you off on these charges? You got to get me off. You got to get me off." Exactly.
Oldest trick in the book.
Not new guy going to get got in a drive-by. Oh, yeah. You know what? That's true. That could actually happen. The new guy could get got in a drive-by. She shut down businesses that did not donate to her campaign. That's another accusation that's been made. She shut down businesses for not having permits. She's refused new businesses opening because they were friends with people that are not that they're not supportive.
They wouldn't pay their fealty fees to her.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it goes deep, man. There's a couple of documentaries online about her you could watch.
Already?
Oh yeah. Because they've been following this for a while.
Been around for a while.
Yeah, it's one of those things like the internet found out about her, and then people started looking into her, and they put together all these, all the stories about her, and now it's just now finally making its way to.
It's becoming like national news.
Yeah, somebody that can actually do something about it. So yeah, crazy stuff there. More to come. We'll see what happens to Tiffany. We'll keep watching out for Rob's girlfriend. He'll probably bail her out. He said he'd represent her, so why not? Let's see here. All right. So did you catch Biden's interview on CNN with Aaron Burnett? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I saw a few things from it. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I definitely saw him talking about like Israel. And shit like that. I didn't see him talk about the economy.
Oh no.
Really?
Okay. Well, yeah. So this is I'm surprised. This is the highlight that everyone was passing around. These are the comments that he apparently went viral for. Everything goes viral now. I don't know what that even means anymore. But here is this. We're not going to watch the whole interview because the whole thing's like 20 minutes long. He did an interview with Aaron Burnett on CNN. You would expect it to be a very like one-sided conversation, like very fluff and all this kind of stuff. But she actually smacked him with the reality of the economy. And just to watch Joe Biden, if you watch, there's a couple of moments in here where he like glitches out, the Matrix falls apart on him. So yeah, there's a couple of points I want to make throughout it, but here we go. Let's pull this up here and push to play.
So when you talk about the economy, of course, it is by far the most important issue for voters. It's also true right now, Mr. President, that voters by a wide margin trust Trump more on the economy. They say that in polls. And part of the reason for that may be the numbers. And you're aware of many of these, of course. The cost of buying a home in the United States is double what it was when you look at your monthly costs from before the pandemic. Real income, when you account for inflation, is actually down since you took office. Economic growth last week, far short of expectations. Consumer confidence, maybe no surprise, is near a 2-year low. With less than 6 months to go to election day,
with that Tucker
are
Carlson
you
face
worried that you're running out of time to turn that around?
We've already turned it around. Look at the Michigan survey. For 65% of American people think they're in good shape economically. They think the nation's not in good shape.
He didn't take his
but
nap.
they're personally in good shape. The polling data has been wrong all along. How many, you guys do a poll with CNN, how many folks you have to call to get one response? The idea that we're in a situation where things are so bad, the folk that, we've created more jobs. We're in a situation where people have access to good paying jobs. And the last I saw, the combination of the inflation, the cost of inflation, all those things, that's really worrisome to people with good reason. That's why I'm working very hard to bring the cost of rentals down, to increase the number of homes that are available.
This guy is a fucking moron. And Joey, the audio is not low. It's just Joe. That's just how he talks.
Yeah, that's just Joe.
I've got everything.
He's like whispering to Aaron. He wants to sniff her or something.
Yeah. No, he talks about a bunch of these numbers that came out. He's blaming the polls, and he points to the Michigan survey. And he's like, oh, look at the Michigan survey. Voter sentiment is higher than it's ever been. People think they're doing really well and all this stuff. So me being the autistic person that I can be sometimes, I found the Michigan poll and I found all the shit that's in it. And there's some interesting stuff in here. So he says that 61% of people, think that he said 65, the real number is 61, 60.9. He says, 61% of people are feel like they're doing better than they ever have been. No. 93% of Democrats say they're doing better than ever. 53 say no. So you see where their partisanship is. But 61 is where he's pulling the number from. Those are the independents. So that's kind of the current economic conditions, what they think. What's interesting is if you read, if you go to the website where this comes from, and they talk about how these numbers come about, and a lot of it is that it's a prediction of the future, right? And so do these independents think that, things are going to get better with a new president? Do they think that they're going to get better with an old president? Like whatever. So the number's not really real. They're just talking about those things. But then there's more data in the Michigan numbers. So 61 of independents, that's the actual number that he was referencing there. I think that things are going to be better. 59% of people, this is what this chart shows here. This is the current financial situation compared to a year ago. Is what this looks at. And so it tracks every month all the way up to a year ago. And so each year they're asked the same question. Do you feel you're in a better place than you were a year ago? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Or whatever. So 40% of people say they're better off. 40. The other 59% say they're worse off. And this is not like separating by Democrats, Republicans, Independents, whatever. Just everybody. 60% of people say they're worse off. So he's actually got the number he's got it backwards. 60% of people aren't saying that they're doing better. In fact, they're saying they're either the same or they're worse off than they were a year ago. Then it goes even further than that. If you follow this chart here that goes into the methodology and you look at those 60% of people who said that they were worse off now than they were a year ago, what reasons do they give for why they're worse off than they were a year ago? The top two scoring contributors are lower income and higher prices. So inflation is the problem, and they're not making enough money.
It's stagflation.
Yeah, and I didn't have enough time today, and thank God for you, because this thing is like fucking 40 fucking pages long. But I printed this out, and my plan was to go through this. This is the Bureau of Labor Statistics, their report that they put out every month that breaks it down, and just a quick TLDR of just fucking thing is basically the jobs that are being created are part-time jobs. Most of the jobs that people have, not most, I want to say about 10 million jobs. There's 60 million or so people that are working right now. There's a bunch of people that want to be working that can't find jobs. And so of the 60 million, 10 million people say that the job that they're working at is not a quality job. It's not a job that they want more money. Obviously everybody wants more money, but they're saying the job that they have is below their qualifications. And then there's another section of them that are working part-time jobs. So they're underemployed. It's unemployed and underemployed is 10 million. Out of the 60 million workforce, 10 million are underemployed or unemployed. And so, he's saying he's created more jobs than ever. We went through this on one of the previous shows where they were talking about, I don't know if you saw the clip with Nancy Pelosi where they were talking about, Joe Biden's the biggest job creator ever. And the person on the other side of the desk is like, no, that's just because of the pandemic. The pandemic shut down and all these jobs went away and they're all coming back. So you're claiming all these jobs that came back. You're not the biggest jobs creator. It's just the economy reopened. And that's how you're getting all these numbers. And Pelosi snaps back and it's like, well, if you want to be a propagandist for Donald Trump, you go right ahead. But Joe Biden is the biggest job creator ever.
Yeah, no, that was something that I saw that. That was like on MSNBC or something, wasn't it?
Right. Yeah. She accused an MSNBC host of being a propagandist for Donald Trump. So fucking stupid.
Oh, and the other clip that I saw from the Aaron Burdett thing was when he tried to claim that when he entered office, inflation was at 9%.
Yeah, that was.
When it was actually at 1.2%.
Yeah, that wasn't one of the ones that's going around. I don't have that one here, but yeah, that was one of the ones. He said like so much stupid shit, and I just thought it was funny because autism, right? I saw he said Michigan, and I was like, all right, cool. Let me go find this. Oh, everything you said is fucking wrong, and even your own Bureau of Labor Statistics says you're fucking wrong. But Joe Biden doesn't know any better. We're picking on him, man.
And I was saying that a lot of those. I saw some report where it's saying that a lot of the jobs are by migrants, and they are government jobs that are being created. They're not public sector jobs. I mean, private sector jobs. So even still, but like I go online looking for another job and everything like that, and there's so many government jobs, but government jobs are hard to get. Yeah, and then you look at other things, and it's like sales jobs. Those are like the only things that are available, and most sales jobs are no base pay, all commission based, and most of them are part time.
Yeah,
it's like. Or you're going to have to work like service industry or some shit like that. That's all that's out there. It's ridiculous.
Joey says, I don't know why Biden wouldn't be hitting on all the money that Trump printed, because Biden wants to print more money.
A lot of this is obviously from Trump and all them printing all that fucking money during COVID.
True.
I mean, he spent more than Obama.
All right.
And no one can argue that at all. But Biden just continued to fucking print. So we're feeling all the inflation from Trump, and now we're just starting also to feel the inflation from everything that Biden's been doing. So it's just taking one more bite out of a shit sandwich every single fucking year that goes by.
I just love that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, I just looked at this one graph, and it showed the changes in McDonald's pricing over the past 10 years.
Yeah.
And everything is up over 180% increase.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, that's just 10 fucking years. It's going to get so bad in the next 10 years. It's not even going to be funny. And I put my conspiracy theory hat on. Is they're intentionally killing the dollar so that they can come running to us with the central bank digital currency and be like, this is going to fix everyone's problem. Yeah. Because the dollar is dead.
Yeah. I'm worried. I didn't watch it, but did you see the the MMT documentary. Did you see that going around? Bob Murphy did a takedown of it, but I think I think that's where the thing is going. I think people are gonna start pushing MMT more. And
well, we're already in MMT. We're already doing modern monetary.
And that's what they're gonna say is we're already doing MMT. Let's just do it harder. Like why? Like they're asking the right question. Why are we paying taxes? But their answer is we don't need to. We don't need to pay for anything. We could just print all this money and pay for it that way.
Well, you see what's happening in Japan. Japan almost just went completely freaking upside down, and we bailed them out.
Right.
Like that's not something that people are talking. We just bailed out Japan.
Right.
Yeah. Why are we bailing out Japan? To keep their fucking yen or whatever from going up under.
To keep them under our thumb. We'll fucking nuke you again. Yeah.
I mean, I'm fully in favor of rearming Japan and bringing back the imperial Japan that we nuked in the first place. I think that's the best way to keep China in check, but that's neither here nor there.
That's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, it's a whole different conversation. Yeah. You rearm their mortal enemy, and they ain't gonna worry about us anymore.
Right. Yeah. Hey, enemy of my enemy is my friend, right?
Yeah, if we're gonna be playing this game and we're gonna be sending billions of dollars to like Israel and to Ukraine and all this shit, it's like fuck that.
Yeah.
I don't want to send it to Taiwan. Send it to Japan.
Send it to somewhere useful.
Yeah, send it to somewhere useful. If we're gonna do it regardless, let's send it or if we're gonna invade somewhere, let's invade Canada and let's invade Mexico.
Yeah, take the continent back.
Yeah, manifest destiny, man.
Yeah, it'll make more sense. But whatever. They're just gonna do what they're gonna do.
Exactly.
But don't as bad as it is out there, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Okay, Biden says polls are bullshit. He says you don't know how good you got it. Shut
up, you whore.
And he's got the solution, dude. He's got the plans. Here we go. Let's listen to some of Biden's plans.
Let me say it this way. When I started this administration, people were saying there's going to be a collapse of the economy. We have the strongest economy in the world. Let me say it again, in the world.
Although GDP last week was far short of expectations.
Oh, it wasn't. Look, GDP is still growing. Look at the response of the markets. Overwhelmingly positive. Overwhelmingly positive.
So he says it twice, thinking he's trying to make some fucking strong ass point.
Yeah, he's making like a point.
Yeah.
No, we're the strongest in the world.
In the world. But no, and then he points to the stock market and says like, well, look how good the stock market's going. When you print a bunch of fucking money and prices go up everywhere, of course the stock's going to go up because that's a representation of all the prices. Those are all the companies.
And they're all anticipating a rate cut that's not going to come.
Right. Yeah. No.
The Fed is not going to cut a rate this year.
No.
They've basically just come out and said that the rates are going to stay where they are, which we know that they need to raise the rates even further.
Right.
Because if the Fed wasn't around, the fucking interest rates on all this money would probably be like 17% or some shit like that.
Right.
If everything was real, but it's not real. It's all fake.
Right.
It's all make believe. So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. We have to combat the inflation. So the rate should be higher than inflation to push it down. Like that's how it's supposed to work. And instead we do zero or whatever. And whatever.
And one of the reasons why people feel good about it not being as strong as it was before is they believe that the Fed's going to respond.
They hope they're going to get a rate cut.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
there we go, Aaron.
No president's had the run we've had in terms of creating jobs and bringing down inflation. It was 9% when I came to office. 9%. Yep. But look, people have a right to be concerned. Ordinary people. The idea that you bounce a check and you get a $30 fee for bouncing the check might change that. You can't charge more than $8 for that. Or your credit card, your late payment, $35. I mean, there's corporate greed going on out there, and it's got to be dealt with.
What about, but there's real pain.
So his solution is that we're going to put price controls.
Yes, and price controls always work the way they're intended.
Of course, dude. Of course. His plan is we're going to put price controls. Oh, you got a $30 bank fee? Here's $20, kid. Go solve your fucking grocery bill. Like, it doesn't work like that, asshole.
Like, we're just talking about the other day, we can't go to the fucking grocery store without spending $250.
Oh, yeah.
At the least.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just two of us.
Yeah.
And that's every fucking week. That's insane.
Yeah.
I can only imagine having a family like you Yeah. How much it costs for you, man, every fucking week with 2 kids running around.
I refuse to go to the store. Investment in the wife is the best investment ever made. I never have to go to the store ever again.
You just hand her the card and be like, "Hey, babe, just get what you need to get."
Listen, I have a level where I want the bank account to be, and it just stays there. Okay, you can spend anything else you want that goes over that number. Everything.
Let's leave the floor there so we have the
exactly. Yeah.
What about? I mean, but there's real pain. I mean, grocery prices are up 30%, more than 30%, since the beginning of the pandemic.
What do you say to that,
People
old
are spending
man?
more on food and groceries than they have at any time, really, in the past 30 years. I mean, that's a real day-to-day pain that people feel.
It really is, and it's real. But the fact is that
it's your
if
fault.
you take a look at what the people have, they have the money to spend. It angers them and angers me that you have to spend more. For example, the whole idea of this notion that Senator Casey talked about, shrinkflation. I think it's on your
Same
program.
price for a smaller bottle of juice or
Well,
something.
for example, Snickers bar, they did a thing, and it's like 20% less for the same price.
Oh yeah, they
That's
got more air in the bags of
greed.
chips, dude. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
He says
it's greed.
That's all corporate greed, dude. That's all corporate greed. That's not his fault. It's not the government's fault. It's you have money. Did you know that you have money? But you have to spend more of it.
Yeah, I have money, and then it gets to the point at the end of every single month, it's not exactly where I want my bank account to be every single month. It's just surprising how that works out, right? And maybe you spend a little bit more than you need to every single month.
It just shows you like things really are not, economically speaking, things are just not going to get any better anytime soon. And like this was another example of it. You know, I heard him talking about price controls and all the kind of, and this fucking bank credit bullshit that, you know, if you overcharge your bank account, they're not going to charge you $30. They're going to charge you $8. These little things on the margin. And then I saw this. So this was a post by Joe Biden. What was this? 4 days ago. And it says, my dad used to say that the way you build wealth is by putting equity in your home. Okay, first of all, that's not how you build wealth, okay? Like that, if you know anything about wealth building, your home is a liability. It isn't an asset. You know, people, you talk shit as much about Robert Kiyosaki as you want and his background and all this bullshit, but he's right about that. Your house is not an asset that you make money on. It's something you dump money into. Unless it's a rental property that's generating income and putting money in your bank account, your home is a liability, not an asset, first of all. So this first comment here, my dad used to say the way you build wealth is by putting equity in your home. No, that's not how it works.
Yeah, if you own your fucking home
right,
flat out and you don't have a note on it, maybe. But no, not if you're paying the fucking bank every goddamn month.
Right. And so
at interest.
So Joe Biden's got a solution. You know, he wants to help people build equity. So my housing plan would help Americans achieve home ownership by giving households $400 a month for 2 years when they buy their first home. So it might sound good, right? If you're trying to buy a home, you're like, oh, well, the government's going to give me $400 a month to pay for my mortgage. A mortgage is 30 fucking years. I don't know if you know this. A mortgage is 30 fucking years. So for 2 years, Biden's going to give you an extra $400. And I guess if you want to steel man the argument, right, you could say, you know, Biden's just, you know, he's giving you a break for the first 2 years or whatever. And it's making it easier to get into a home. But that's not how it's going to work. That's not how reality works.
No.
The way it's going to work is people are going to look at buying a house right now and they're going to say, I can afford $1,500 a month. That's my budget. Oh shit, Joe Biden's going to give me an extra $400. My budget just went up to $1,900. They're going to ignore the 2 year part and they're going to sign the mortgage. And then, you know, how convenient is this? You know, this new plan or whatever, it's 2 years. So you get into a house, 2 years go by, and what do you think's going to happen? There's going to be another fight on the floor, and they're going to say, "Hey, you know, isn't it convenient that a 2 year is the same election cycle for Congress, right? So, you know, give me the Congress that I want, and we can renew this bill for you, and we can give you another 2 years of $400 so that you can afford your mortgage. Don't vote for the Republicans. Don't vote for the other party because they're just going to kick you out." And you're going to lose your home because they won't renew this thing. It's your right to own a home. It's so fucking stupid. Every part of this tweet is just awful. Because
not only that, $400 a month ain't going to do shit.
No.
Mortgages are the highest they've ever fucking been.
That's the other part too.
The median, the average, the fucking median,
right,
is highest as it's ever been.
Yeah.
Like there are houses around here going for $480,000 that should be $200,000.
Yeah.
It's asinine. You know, the shit should be the housing market. That's another thing. It's like we're looking at houses over here. I'm like, we gotta stay in our rental for at least another fucking year until the housing market totally takes a shit. And it's like, yeah, that's the terrible thing. It's like if you're in a certain situation, you're hoping for pain. So, you're hoping for pain for other people in the country so that you can benefit off of that. And I don't like feeling that way, but it's how it is. I want people to have foreclosures so that I can go and buy a house.
No, you're not.
It might be at it might be an 8% interest rate, but guess what? I know.
Yeah.
And you know that the Fed's not going to leave it at that forever.
Right.
Because once there is a big hard recession, they're going to drop that back down to 2% or 1% or maybe.
You got to have the correction.
And then I can refinance that shit. And that's another thing. Even Janet Yellen came out and said that. And it's like the reason why people are having such a hard time buying houses and why housing is so expensive is because no one wants to fucking sell because they don't want to lose their rate. They had that 0% interest rate that they got when fucking COVID was going on, and they had all that free money and drove the market up through the roof. Who's going to refinance now, or who's going to go try and buy another house when it's goddamn 7-8% interest?
Right. Yeah. Now, and that was like that was a huge part. You know, we were talking earlier about like I sold my house and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We got a really good rate because we got it. A good rate by comparison today, at least. We bought our house in the middle of COVID. Like while all that.
Yeah, I remember you getting that property. Yeah.
Yeah. So when we bought it, the rate I think at the time, I think it was like 3.4, something like that.
Yeah,
so
that's awesome.
At the time, I was like, I'm paying a high rate. Like it kind of fucking sucks. 2 years later, I was like, oh, this is a great rate. I don't fucking sell
best
this.
rate I've ever had.
Yeah, way better. The thing I had pulled up a moment ago said like the average interest rate right now across the country is about 7%. So double what I was fucking paying just in interest. And it's it's crazy too. Like my mortgage was about $1,500. Which is why I said that number earlier. It was about $1,500, and then with the new interest, I looked at the people who bought my house and what their interest rate was and what their mortgage payment was going to be. $2,500. Once they tacked on all the extra interest and all the bullshit, it was going to be $2,500 a month. And what really sucks for them is property taxes are going to hit too. Because that was the other part. Like when we bought our place, it was undeveloped land. So we got a much lower tax assessment for what it was.
No, absolutely.
But now that the house is there, just the mortgage alone is $2,500 a month. Plus the increase in property taxes now that there's actually a house there.
Plus insurance.
Yeah, now the insurance rate's in Florida too. So it's just like everything is going against them. That piece of property a couple years ago that I could get for $1,500 a month after I had everything financed in that. I had the power, I had the water, I had the, clearing the trees. I had everything financed into putting the septic tank in. All that bullshit was financed into it. I didn't pay for any of that out of pocket. But now they've got to pay for all of that. So, I mean, it could
How many acres did you have?
5 acres. Yeah. Yeah. It could easily be, $3,500 a month to live at that place now.
Probably. With everything wrapped into it, it's probably about $3,500 a month, which is insane.
It's crazy. More than doubled the price of the cost of living, let's say. They more than doubled that cost just in the rent and property taxes alone.
No, dude, it's insane. It's completely fucking insane.
Yeah. But he's going to fix it, dude. He's going to fix it. He's going to put price controls in. You're not going to have to pay more than $1,000 a month for rent. Don't worry about how much your hamburger costs. You shouldn't even be eating that. You should be eating the bugs.
It's all part of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's all part of it.
Yeah. I don't know. I think economically we're in for a real fucking shit show. And I just hope that the smart people fucking stand up and say no, because there's a lot of dumbasses out there.
Find yourself a recession-proof job.
It's really hard to find. Yeah, it really is. All right. So we're going to get into something a little bit more fun. We're going to talk about the N-word and not the fun N-word though. This is going to be the nationalism word. That was the name of the podcast that Vivek Ramaswamy did with Ann Coulter. Did you see her comments?
Yes, I did.
I'm sure you did. Of course you did.
I'm a fan of both, so I definitely saw it.
Yeah, I actually like Ann Coulter. She says a lot.
I like Ann a lot.
Yeah, she says
she's
a lot.
She's more right than she's wrong, and when she's wrong, she admits that she's wrong.
Absolutely.
So got to give her credit where that is, where that's due.
Hold on. AS.
But yeah, and also just I'm not going to be able to stay up much past 9 o'clock.
Okay.
Probably have to jump off at 9.
Okay, we won't. We'll make this the last segment then. That's fine. All right. So Ann Coulter, like you were saying, I like a lot of the shit she says. Sometimes she says some off the wall shit. I think she kind of does it for shock value, like especially this.
She does. It's part of her gimmick.
Yeah, And so, but you know, I respect her, and I think she's got a valid opinion sometimes, and she's worth listening to. So this was her appearing on Vivek Ramaswamy's podcast. He's got a podcast called Truth, where he tries to talk to people. So here we go. Anyway.
Movement. And on this question of nationalism and national identity, somebody I've been fascinated by for a long time and have interacted with on social media, but for the first time we're having at least live form conversation in the offline sense of it. It's Ann Coulter. So Ann, thanks for coming on, and I'm looking forward to our conversation today.
Me too. Thanks for having me. That was a fantastic opening monologue. I too am a fan of yours. I'm going to make a point of disagreeing with you so that it will be fun. You are so bright and articulate, and I guess I can call you articulate since you're not an American black. Can't say that about them. That's derogatory. And that was a great opening segment. Lots of things to talk about there. Oh, and I agreed with many, many things you said during, in fact, probably more than most other candidates when you were running for president. But I still would not have voted for you because you're an Indian. We'll get back to that.
So that's the comment.
You paused it perfectly. Yeah. You paused it perfectly too.
Yep. That's the point that got her in so much fucking trouble. Was just saying, you know, I loved everything you said, but I won't vote for you because you're fucking Indian. Mm-hmm. So the question that I originally had intended was to take this to Swamp Court and ask, is it racist?
It is.
It is? Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she's entitled to her fucking opinion.
Yeah, and
you have a reason. You can vote for anyone for any reason you want, and as people who hold libertarian values, you want to be fucking racist.
Yeah,
you know, doesn't mean you have to agree with it. Would I rather, you know, I honestly don't care,
right,
if he's Indian or not. He says most of the right things. The thing is with Vivek is I'm not 100% sure if he is honest all the time.
Yeah.
But at the very least, he's saying all the right things.
Right.
You know, guess what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, and Vivek came out and defended her.
Yep. I have that clip too. We're going to that next.
So,
yep.
I mean, you know.
Yeah, there was there was a whole lot of reaction against her comments, obviously calling her racist and like, you know, mask off moment, all this kind of bullshit was going around. And then a few, like, I don't know if it was the next day or it was very shortly after, Vivek went on PBD's podcast and he went and explained the whole situation and how it happened and kind of ill-manned her argument and gave a better, you know, that's the one thing I think Vivek's really good at is, you know, articulating a position and laying it out. Yeah. He's a very good speaker in that way. So
yeah, that's why I think he needs to be. I mean, he's not going to be, but he needs to be Trump's VP, and he needs to be the one doing all the talking.
Yeah,
like he needs to do all the talking and then bringing Trump in to play the hits.
Yeah,
that's what it should do.
But that's why Trump won't do it because he wants to be the star. Yeah,
I did not expect she would just kick it off right there, get right into the business. And I think it actually made for a really good conversation, believe it or not. Of course, I disagree with hell like her on that being a criteria to be the U.S. president is her description of whether or not you're an Indian. I'm born in the United States. I'm as American as they come. But I thought it actually formed a really strong basis for an honest conversation that we otherwise don't have. Because her view is that
here we go.
In order to actually be a U.S. president, you got to be even more American, right? So you're not fully American if your parents weren't from the United States of America. And in order to trust somebody, the more generations they've been here, let's say you've been here 6 or 7 generations, you have more of what she would call, I think she did call it in the podcast, a security policy. It's like an insurance policy that you know that if you're going to put somebody in that high office, at least you know that they've really, really soaked up what it means to be American. Now, I disagree with that. I disagree with that because you have people in the 7th generation Americans who are the kids of some, I've known many of these people, grow up in the Upper East Side. Some daughter who lives in Brooklyn thinks she's a hippie, talks about hating this country. Well, I don't think that person's any more American than I am just because my parents happen to have been legal immigrants to this country.
So I got 2 questions.
So yeah, he breaks down her point there. Like, and this is what I was saying in the beginning is I think like Ann sometimes will say things that are provocative on purpose. Like, I wouldn't vote for you because you're an Indian. Well, that's not what she really means. What she really means is, you know, I'm not going to vote for you if you don't have this strong background in history in America. And, you know, I think there is a part of, like, I think like you said in the beginning, like, yeah, there's definitely some racism here, but also, you know, it's not like it's, I don't want to say it's not unfounded racism, you know, like that's kind of the point is there's a
doesn't invalidate what she says.
There's an actual argument. Yeah.
Does her having that feeling completely invalidate her point? No, it doesn't. It's just a part of her point, you know?
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's like saying you wouldn't vote for someone because they're a woman.
Right.
Because I don't think women have the emotional capacity to make the right decisions or saying something like that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying
right. That would be another example. Yeah.
That'd be another example of kind of like what she was saying.
Yeah. So he kind of defended her a little bit, and there was this huge thing that went on Twitter. And then I guess at the end of the podcast, I don't have the clip at the end of the podcast, but I guess at the end of the podcast, she said, I have to skip forward because everybody plays the same clip that we just watched, and I don't want to watch it again. But you know, I guess later in the podcast, he ended up saying something like, you know, I really appreciate having you on and whatever. And people are saying that like he was kissing her ass, like you just been abused and now you're thanking your abuser, was kind of like the attitude about it. But anyway, I pulled this clip from The Hill because they have they pulled together a bunch of other reactions to it. So I think this is a good clip to play.
Vivek responded.
That's fucking homo.
He's the libertarian on the stage. I was going to say.
He's a fucking homo.
You might be.
On X, writing, quote, Ann Coulter told me flat out to my face that she couldn't vote for me because you're an Indian, even though she agreed with me more than most other candidates. I disagree with her, but respect she had the guts to speak her mind. It was
And that's like the compliment that he gave that everybody's criticizing.
A riveting hour.
Many took issue with Vivek's journalist Zed Jelani wrote on X, quote, okay, what level of simp is Vivek on here that he's like, well, she absolutely hates me for my ethnicity, but I really respect her. Journalist and CEO of Zato News wrote, quote, you respect that she was openly and crudely racist to your face? Sheesh, the things that brown folks will do to be accepted by the white supremacy wing of the GOP. That was Mehdi Hassan. And co-founder of Based Politics, Brad Palumbo, wrote, so Ann Coulter is just racist and you don't even stand up for yourself in the face of blatant racism? Yeah, this was a tough one to try to parse.
I mean, all three of those people that they quoted on there are a bunch of fucking cucks online.
Oh, yes.
Yes, every single one of them are fucking the worst types of people that you want. Like Brad Palumbo is like maybe the least worst out of all of them. Mehdi Hassan is a piece of shit. That first person is like the most establishment freaking. I can't even tell if they're right wing or left wing, but they're like ooze establishment talking points.
So
and then Brad Palumbo is.
Yeah,
we don't need to get it.
Yeah. These he's at the base of that totem pole. Anyway, these two here, there's some history going on here that you may not be aware of. This is a progressive, this is a libertarian, and they consistently get into arguments. And the arguments have been getting more and more heated recently over the Israel-Palestine stuff. She's obviously like pro-Palestine and the whole thing. He's not pro-Israel. He's anti-interventionist would be a better description of him. But anyway, they've been fighting a whole bunch. And so those three people being a piece of shit is no coincidence, considering who pulled the sources.
No, for sure.
is what I'm getting at. But yeah, so Robbie's going to go in there, this guy here, he's going to go in and defend it a little bit and kind of you'll see why I like Robbie, because Robbie does a better job. He might be gay, but he's a cool gay.
I think I kind of understand it. In this kind of alternative independent media landscape.
Oh yeah, this is her description of like, you know, like why Vivek reacted the way he did.
Try to parse, although I do think I kind of understand it. In this kind of alternative independent media landscape of which we are a part, admitting to being offended by someone being racist, even if they are blatantly and explicitly so, has been characterized as being sensitive or a snowflake, and your kind of merit in this space is all about how much you can withstand. Now, the irony of that is that it's people who are the subjects of racism that are being asked to do all the withstanding among a bunch of, you know, white male predominant members of this community that do all of the offending. And it's just your job to sit there and say, oh, I don't notice someone's being racist. If I say the word racist, they better be able to prove it because there's a body swinging from a tree with a Ku Klux Klan person standing nearby. Otherwise, you lose credibility in the space. And this seems to be the end point of where all that leads. Vivek sitting across from someone saying, I like you,
but I will not vote for you because of your ethnicity. And him saying, yes, I respect that she had the guts to say a racism out loud.
So that's her perspective on it. I think it's interesting because I feel like the same way about, lefty commentators. If you watch a lot of their stuff, even the white ones, they got to sit there and take all the white hate. And they just kind of got to have to accept it. Like, yes, this is my privilege. This is my job is to sit here and be sorry for everything else that you've done. So it's kind of weird that she sees it one way, but she doesn't see it the other way. She looks at the right and she's like, all these colored people on the right, they have to sit there and take the abuse. But she doesn't recognize all the people on the left that do the exact same thing. I thought that was an interesting.
She doesn't see it as abuse.
Yeah, she doesn't see it that way because it's justice. They're getting what's come to them, basically. Yeah, so tired of identity politics. Definitely right there, Joey. But Robbie's going to come in and he's going to steel man the argument a little bit, and it's interesting because he kind of agrees.
Yeah, I listened to a little bit more of that interview, and she then was saying, I mean, the reason she gave is that she thinks that immigrants from other parts of the world, including India, are hostile to American values, constitutional values, including the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, free speech, and gun rights.
Shut
your fucking mouth, bitch.
The problem with that being that Vivek is not even an immigrant. He was born in America. So if you're saying that you think, and again, she's admitting that she mostly agrees with him, so then she can't say that, well, I would fear you would be against my values on free speech and other things because you were brought into this country or something. That clearly doesn't apply to him because A, he is a stated someone who agrees with those values from your perspective and is not actually an immigrant. So then what else is it other than racism? What could it be other than racism? Which is why she certainly invited that accusation, and I don't know how you can get around it. It's as close rhetorically as the swinging noose as you can find.
Ohio.
And to me, that disqualifies him more than being Indian, if I'm being honest.
But then again, I think more presidents have been from Ohio than any other state. So.
Dude, listen, you watch this shit. Watch.
I don't know that it gets more American than that. Ohio has had more presidents, fun fact, I know because my mother is obsessed with talking about presidential factoids, than any other state in the...
See what I'm fucking saying? You watched this shit. You knew.
I did not. I did not know that shit where
That's
she was going.
That's like the second or third time it's happened during this show. Well,
it's because I know my shit.
But no, I think
because I'm not as retarded as I look.
I think the Ohio thing disqualifies Vivek more than anything else. Ohio, I used to say when I was driving over the road, Ohio is the gateway to hell. I fucking hate Ohio. Every time I went into Ohio, something bad happened. And then while I was in Ohio, this is the only time an ATM machine has ever stole my money. Stole $600 from me. In Ohio. Fuck Ohio.
Ohio sucks. Ohio's the worst place. I'll never go back to Ohio ever again. I went there once in 2001.
Yeah.
When I was visiting my brother who lived up there in like shit ass freaking like Akron or wherever the fuck he was. And then I promised myself I would never go back again because it was miserable. And my best friend lives in Cincinnati and I will not go visit him. I'm like, dude, you got to come back home to Florida. I am not going. He's a doctor. He's got all the fucking money. He lives in a nice place in Cincinnati. No. I'm not going to fucking go. I'm not going to go visit you. I'm not going to cross that fucking line. The only time I'm going to cross in Ohio is to drive through it to go somewhere else.
That's right.
If I have to.
Right. Yeah. It's the gateway to hell because it was the gateway to the Northeast. It's like the worst fucking part of town to ever drive in. And just all the worst people that you know in Florida, they're either from Ohio or New York. That's where they're from.
New Jersey.
Yeah. Well, see, but I like Rich and I do like Josh. And so, I can't they're both from Jersey. I got to give them some props. There's at least some people from Jersey that I prefer.
It's a Jersey thing.
Yeah, it's a Jersey thing. I wouldn't understand. Anyway, yeah, I thought it was interesting. I do think, I don't know, because like TYT and other people are taking her comments and saying like, it's a mask off moment. She's definitely a racist. This is the whole thing. I don't know that Ann Coulter's racist. I think she says provocative things to try to make her point, and that was it. I think Robbie did a pretty good job of like separating it. Well, he believes all these things you said. He's not actually an immigrant. He does qualify under the Constitution, but you're still not against him. So maybe she's a little racist, but
Well, here's the thing. They've been calling Ann Coulter racist for 20 years.
Yeah, that doesn't bother her at all.
No, she doesn't give two shits.
Yeah.
She's been like the number one person on the anti-illegal immigration front.
Oh yeah, for sure.
for 20, 30 years, and they've been calling her racist for that forever. So what's one more thing? And that it doesn't mean anything anymore. It's a word that really doesn't mean anything anymore, especially when you're on that level. Oh, you call her racist? Okay.
What next?
What is calling her racist gonna? How is that gonna affect her?
It doesn't affect her, but it signals to all of your audience that you're progressive, you're woke, you understand, you recognize the power hierarchy. That's what it does. It doesn't do anything to Ann Coulter, but it bolsters the base of people who try to profit off calling her racist.
Yeah, but here's the thing: all the people that are going to sit, no one who listens to Ann Coulter is going to stop listening to her because someone like her calls her racist, and all the people that she's signaling to hated Ann Coulter to begin with.
Right. No, I agree with that.
That shows the bullshit whole dynamic. Anyways, so.
All right. Well, hey, we're gonna wrap it up here. Thanks for coming on with me, Duke. Hopefully to see you around on the next show. You got anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
Not really. Just follow me at Twitter on DK_Chastaine. In there talking shit.
Yes, sir.
Often just to myself. But having a good time anyways.
Yeah, so his link will be down in the description. Also down there as well. Join the Discord. Follow us on Twitter. Check out the next Swampcast. We'll be here next Tuesday. It is scheduled to be a Rob show. We'll see if Rob actually shows. All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging out.